ladies and handsomely beautiful gents, y'all know what it is. It is another Sunday morning, y'all. And y'all, it is a beautiful morning at that. Like, I want to stop right now and I just want to give God some thanks. I want to stop right now and give God some praise, not for what he does and what he does for me, just for simply who he is. I want to give him thanks today. Come on and let's bless the Lord this morning. Come on and let's give God some thanks this morning for looking over me as I slept and I slumber, for keeping me when I couldn't even keep myself. God, I just give you thanks and praise this morning. God, even when it seems that some things weren't well, God, you show me that all is well. And for that, God, I want to thank you this morning. I do have a word for this morning. I do have a word. And the way that God gave it to me, he actually brought it to my attention, 3 times. It took 3 times for me to get it. And it's so important the way that he gave it to me, because the way that he showed me, he used my daughter, my daughter who is 5 years old. He used her to show me about who he is to me. And so here's what he did. It was on 3 accounts. Now here I am, I stand about 5'6", and my daughter's a little over 3 feet. So God began to show me how he works in my life. He showed me how he works in our life. And so what happened was, when he first brought it to my attention and it first sparked my spirit, it was when we had got in the car. And I was heading out and I was riding down the road, and I noticed this cat that I haven't seen before. It had a unique look to it. So what I did, as we was in the car, Sequoia was sitting in the passenger seat. She was buckled down, and I said, Sequoia, look at that cat. But see, me sitting in the car, as you see me now sitting in the car, I'm able to look high so I can look lower. Since my head is higher, I can look lower. But my daughter, who is only a little over 3 feet, she couldn't see. Good morning, Miss Kathy. Good morning, love. Good morning, Mama Mary. And good morning, Miss Carol. Good morning to y'all all. So like I said, as I'm riding in the car, and I see this cat, and I say, Sequoia, look at the cat. But she couldn't see it because she wasn't tall enough. She was too short. And even though she was trying to make her way and try to, lift up to see the cat, she couldn't see it. So by the time she said, Mama, I didn't see the cat, I said, well, we done passed it now. You missed it. At that moment, God sparked my spirit, but it didn't catch me then because I had my focus elsewhere. So then the second time he came to me, I was coming out the house. I was getting ready to take Sequoia to school that morning. So as I began to take her out of school, I was standing on the steps. She had made her way down the steps. And I noticed that one of the neighborhood dogs was walking through. Now, this dog, he is never aggressive. He never bothers anybody. He just kind of goes on his way. But because he is a dog and I don't know what his intentions may be, I'm still looking out. I'm still making sure, he's not going to be growling. I'm trying to make sure that I'm watching Sequoia so that if he does get aggressive, I can intercede and I can step in. So if he were to bite, he'll bite me and not her. So I say, Sequoia, look at that dog. So me standing on the step and I can see through the window of my car, I'm seeing the dog walk. But Sequoia being short, she's trying to look and see. She's saying, Mama, I don't see the dog. I was saying it's right there. So by the time I made it down the steps and by my car, the dog had made it all the way around the corner. She said, I didn't see the dog. I said, yeah, you didn't see it because you're too short. And see, something sparked my spirit then, but it still didn't hit me. So here's what happened. It was Monday morning. I was taking my daughter to school, and as I headed over the hill, I came down. I noticed that a dead deer was sitting on the side of the road. So I looked at Sequoia and I said, Sequoia, look at that dead deer, because I wanted her to see how it had stiffened and how the legs was lifting up. See, I always want to show her something. If I think it's different or if I want to, teach her something, I'm always trying to show her something. But her being, again, me sitting in the car like you see me in the car now, I can look out the window and I can see down. She's not able to do that because she's too short. And then she's in a seatbelt, so she's trying her best. She's trying to look up. She said, Mama, I didn't see the deer. I said, that's all right. We done passed it. And then Sequoia said something she didn't say all the other 2 times. She said, Mama, I couldn't see it because I'm not tall enough. And all of a sudden then, all the sparks that God had been giving me, all of a sudden it was like a flame ignited. I got it then. See, what God showed me, he said, Sharmaine, I'm trying to show you what I'm like. He said, just like you are with your daughter. He said, you always trying to show her some things. You always trying to show her what's out there. He said, I do the same thing. He said, but the thing is, you're like Sequoia. He said, you can't see it because you're not high enough. But you have to remember that I sit high and I look low. He said, I know that the things that I said I had for you, you haven't got it yet. And he said, I know the things you've been praying for, you hadn't got it yet. I know the things you're so deeply desiring and it seems like it isn't coming yet, but you need to understand that it's there. He said it's there. He said you just have to trust it's there. He said, just like Sequoia, even though she missed the cat, even though she missed the dog, even though she missed the deer, even though she didn't see that it's there, she trusts you as her mother to know that if you said it's there, it's there. And he said, that's how you need to do with me, because I said that I was going to give it to you, because I said that I was going to make it come to pass, because I said it was going to happen, because I said it was going to come in due time and in due season and at the appointed time. You need to understand that just because you're not equipped yet, just because you're not big enough yet, just because you're not prepared enough yet, doesn't mean that you're not going to get it. He said it's already there. He said you just got to get up to the level where you can see it. See, what God showed me is he put in my spirit, it ain't what it looked like. See, somebody need to say this morning that it ain't what it looked like. I know that you've been praying for some things just like I have. I know you've been so deeply desiring some things just like I have. I know you've been wishing and hoping for some things just like I have. And it seems like it's not happening. It seems like it's never going to come. But God says, remember this. He said it ain't what it looked like. You need to understand this morning the blessings that you so deeply want, the blessings that you want so badly. You need to understand that the blessings are already there. But like Sequoia, she's too little and too short. She can't see it yet. But soon she'll probably be taller than me. Soon she'll probably be able to see some things that I can't see, and she'll be able to see all the things that I said was there. God said, I'm like that. He said, all the things are already there. You just can't see it yet. So he said, remember this morning. It ain't what it looked like. You see, and then it began to make me think about my mama. See, my mama as a single parent, y'all probably heard this story before. She had 4 kids, and as a child, I couldn't understand why sometimes I would want things and she couldn't give them to me, or she didn't give them to me. And it's because she couldn't, because she was a single parent trying to raise 4 kids. She would work in Russell in the morning, then she would go work at Captain D's or Shoney's that evening, and then at nighttime, sometimes she even bartend for extra change. But what she was doing, she was still being a great mother. She was still being a great parent. And see, what she did as she was raising those 4 kids, she had 4 children who was watching her. See, what God showed me, he said, when you take care of your children will turn around and take care of you. And God said, that's how it is. He said, I'm taking care of you. He said, all I need you to do is take care of me. He said, when I give you something, I need you to give it to the people. When I tell you to say something, I need you to say it to the people. If I tell you to walk a certain way, just do it. He said, because I'm taking care of you. He said, take care of me, and I'm going to take care of you. And so then my mama, she was the single parent. She had 4 children. And the oldest of the children was my oldest brother, Terrell. Now, Terrell seen how my mama was struggling. So Terrell began to proclaim some things when he was young. He said, Mama, when I grow up, he said, I'm going to play football with Jerry Rice. He said, I'm going to play professional. And see, if y'all know my brother, if y'all know the story of my brother, you see, he didn't get much playing time in high school. See, because the coaches or the people who was over the team, the coaches, they didn't think that he was big enough, so they didn't put him on the field. They didn't think that he was tall enough, so they didn't put him on the field. They didn't see that he was fast enough, so they didn't put him on the field. They didn't think that he was strong enough, so they didn't put him on the field. But I'm trying to tell you that it ain't what it looked like. So my brother, who already seen what God could do, he knew about God, and he knew that if you speak something, that if God show you to it, he'll bring you to it. And when you get fully prepared, you will get it. So what my brother began to do, while he was in school, he would skip his lunch and he would go work out. Then after school was over, he would go work out again. So while other people was partying, while other people was playing, while they was sitting around goofing off, he was working out, he was running. And when he got to college, he began to run some more. He began to lift more weights. He began to try to get in every activity, every sport there was, just so he could stay active. And all of a sudden, he began to grow. All of a sudden, his muscles began to form. He began to get bigger. His feet began to get faster. And all of a sudden, they started throwing him the ball, and he began catching him. And now the people who are watching him, professional teams, they're beginning to catch this little guy from Alex City named Terrell Owens. And I can remember the day as we sat there in Chattanooga. The first draft went by, the second draft went by, and then all of a sudden the 3rd round pick came in 1996, and he was drafted. See, God is telling you this morning, it ain't what it looked like. See, even though he didn't look big enough, even though he didn't look strong enough, even though he wasn't fast enough, they didn't see him as a person who could play football. But little did they know, it ain't what it looked like. See, I'm trying to tell you this morning, it ain't what it look like. See, you be at your job and you be saying, I'm tired of my boss getting on me. They always trying to seem like they working hard on me. But the reason the boss may be on you the hardest because they see the potential in you. They see the boss qualities in you. And so they're handling you like a boss should, because they showing you how a boss should handle their crew members, because you may be a crew member now, but God says soon you're going to be a team leader. And then you're going to elevate into a supervisor. And see, what he's trying to tell you, it ain't what it look like. He says, so don't take the hard moments as moments that are there to break you down and tear you down. He said, but they're only to build you up, to get you where he's trying to show you that you can get. Somebody say it ain't what it look like. see, I automatically began to think about David. I told y'all I love me some David, and I love me some Paul. And here's what happened. I had went to Psalms 139 because David was talking about how God, had searched him and how God knew him. But God said, that ain't the one. God said, let me take you to this scripture. And he took me to 1 Samuel in chapter 16. And what happened was, I told this story before, I preached it before, but I didn't preach it this way. And what happened was, as y'all know, Saul was the king of Israel. But Saul, he began to be disobedient. He began to try to do things the way that God didn't tell him to do it. God would tell him to do one thing, and he could go try to his own way to do it. Because when he seen that something wasn't the way that he thought that it should be, then he would go about his own way of fixing it. And see, he was disobedient to God. So since he was disobedient to God, God says, Samuel, I'm going to sit Saul down. He's no longer going to be king. So I need you to go down there to Jesse's place, and I need you to anoint a king. So here's what happens. So Samuel said, God, if I do that, if I go down there and anoint the king, Saul gonna kill me. And he said, don't you worry about Saul. I got him. You go down there and do what I told you to do. So what Samuel does, he goes on down there to Jesse's place. And when he got there, he tells us that immediately he walked upon one of Jesse's first sons, and who was Eliab. And he was getting ready. He said, surely he is the king. See, what he looked at, seeing that Eliab looked like a king. He probably smelled like a king. He probably spoke eloquently and spoke like a king. He probably walked like a king. He probably was in there getting his little prince orders on, talking like a king. So he said, surely he's a king. And God quickly stopped him. He said, no, Samuel, it ain't what it looked like. He looked like a king, but that's not the king I had in mind. So here Samuel is. He done went through 7 sons that was sitting in the palace, 7 sons that was looking good, 7 sons that was smelling good, 7 sons that was pronouncing words eloquently, speakingly, educationally, but there was one more son. And so God had told Samuel, he said, none of those sons are it. He said, these are not it, God. God said, no. He said, man looks at the outer appearance, but I look at the heart. See, because it ain't what it looked like. God said it ain't what it looked like. He said, so what Samuel does, he asked Jesse, he said, well, do you have any more sons? He said, yeah. I got one more son. He's out in the field. He's out in the pasture. He's tending to the sheep. He said, well, bring him on in. And see, that one son was David. David was out there tending to the sheep. And what he was doing, he was getting stinky. He was sweaty. He was in the sun. If it was raining, I'm pretty sure he was getting wet. And it was muddy. So when he came into the palace, now you know how something, when it smells good, if something stinking comes in, you automatically know it. I can imagine that's how it was. When he came into the palace and they brought David in, and he probably looked at him, and everything that smelled good in the palace, since he done came from the pastor, he probably smelling like dung, which is boo-boo. He's probably smelling stinky. So when he gets in the palace, all of a sudden, when Samuel sees him, he looks at him, and it says that David has a ruddy appearance, meaning that he's red, meaning that he's dirty. But here's what God showed me. He showed me that he already knew that he had David as a king. He probably had already told David, you're going to be a king. See, this is what God showed me. I never looked at it quite like this. He said David was out there tending to a herd of sheep. He said, but what he was attending to as the herd of sheep, God was showing him that soon he going to be tending to a herd of people, because he made him king over Israel. See, he went from sheep that has like lamb wool, but into people who are God's sheep. See, he changed the role. See, the things you're going through, I'm trying to tell you, it ain't what it look like. The things that you go through, they're not for nothing. The things that break you down, they're not breaking you down for nothing. Everything that you go through is all for a purpose, because God wants you to know this morning that it ain't what it looked like. So when he got in the palace, Samuel began to anoint him, and immediately when he anointed him, it said that the spirit left Saul, and the spirit came over David. See, that same man, now Saul was mad. Saul was mad because now David was the new king, and Saul began to get envious and jealous. He really he had a hit out on David. He wanted to kill him. But that same man that Saul wanted to kill was the same man that was able to help Saul. See, because it tells us that when God's spirit left Saul, that an evil spirit would come over him. And they had told him the only thing that could cure him was a man that could play the harp so beautifully that would cause the evil spirit to leave his body. And that man that could play the harp beautifully, y'all, was David. Somebody say it ain't what it looked like. I know you're going through this morning. I know it seems like you're suffering. I know it seems like you're struggling. I know it seems like everything that you just keep getting set back and everything just keep coming against you. But God said, if I be for you, nothing or no one can be against you. He said, because it ain't to what it looked like. It ain't what it look like, y'all. It ain't what it look like. I'm telling you to keep on walking. I'm telling you to keep on moving. I can remember the time when I was working on weekends at Hardee's and I was making $7.25 an hour. I only had Caleb then, single parent, trying to go to school. Sometimes didn't know how I was gonna pay my light bill. Didn't know how I was gonna get my rent up. And when I look back, I was like, God, how did I make it? God was like, you was able to make it because I was showing you that I was taking care of you. See, I'm trying to tell you this morning that it ain't what it looked like. See, he says in Proverbs, he said his eyes are always looking everywhere. He said he looks at the ones who are doing good and he looks at the ones who are doing bad. It says that he reigns on the just and the unjust. See, what God sees, we don't see. We may see a homeless man who just sitting on the street begging, but that man could have been somebody who lost his job. And here's what he showed me too. If y'all ever seen that movie about a family that prays together, about Tyler Perry. I like how Alice was the black woman who had the restaurant. She was rich and her own children didn't even know it because she wasn't living like she was rich. See, it ain't what it looked like. And the thing was, she had this man who would come in who would be stinking, who hardly wanted to bathe by the name of Nick. And we found out at the end of the story that Nick was actually a great lawyer. And even though he was depressed, even though he didn't want to bathe sometimes, even though he didn't want to eat, Alice took care of him. And he took care of Alice because he was a great accountant. So he made sure that her finances was right. He made sure that her money was accounted for right. And in the end, we found out that Nick was once one of the smartest lawyers, but they dropped him down. They dropped him down and they let him go. But see, it ain't what it looked like in the end. Nick, who was once didn't dress, didn't smell good, who didn't feel like he was dressing again. See, somebody you looking at, they may not seem like they're smart enough to you. They may not dress the part for you. They may not look the part for you. It may not look like your husband. It may not look like your wife. It may not look like it's the job you're supposed to have. But God is saying this morning, it ain't what it look like. It ain't what it look like, y'all. Don't be moved by what you see, but be moved by what God sees. He said that's why we have to walk by faith and not by sight, because these eyes can quickly fool us. We have to look at that thing spiritually. It ain't what it look like. You know, there's this song by C.C. Winans, and she tells us how God sees, and it goes a little something like this. God is just a prayer away. All you need to do is call. He will hear your faintest cry. He's concerned about you. So while your tears are flowing through your time of mourning, He is here to lift your heavy heart. 'Cause He's in love, God is in love with you. He knows, He cares. God sees, He's there. He cares for you. You need to know this morning that it ain't what it look like. God is concerned about you. And my grandma used to sing this one song. She used to say, I learned how to lean and depend on Jesus. He's my friend, and He's my guide. I found out if I trust Him, He will provide. Let me say it again, y'all. I learned how to lead and depend on Jesus. He's my friend, and He's my guide. I found out if I trust Him, He will, God will provide. I searched all over, couldn't find nobody. I looked high and low, still couldn't find nobody. Nobody greater, Nobody great, nobody wise, nobody strong, nobody big, nobody greater than you. See, I learned how to lean and depend on Jesus. But when I learn how to trust him, to see God, even though I don't see what you're doing, I trust what you're doing. That's what makes me able to keep on walking on. See, it ain't what it look like, people. It ain't what it look like. I know you're tired of them being on your back. Like your mama's, like mom, I used to feel like she was always on me. But see, now I see as a parent, when I see my child doing the same thing, I be like, I already done went through that. So now I try to show them what not to do so they don't have to go through that. See, when we don't listen, we mess up. We be disobedient. We have to reap the consequences of being disobedient. But God said, if you would only trust me, he said, I'm showing you. And I sit high and I look low. I'm showing you that it ain't what it look like. He said, I'm showing you that I got some stuff for you. All you got to do is hold on. All you got to do is be strong. All you got to do is keep on walking. All you got to do is keep on praying. All you got to do is keep on keeping on, keep on singing. He said, even when you don't feel like it, give me some praise. Even when you don't feel like it, give me some thanks. He said, because I got your back. And he said, what you're going through right now, when you look back, when you make it through the breakthrough, you're going to understand why you went through what you went through. Because it ain't what it looked like. See, it's like these glasses of mine, y'all. If I take them off, things will begin to get blurry. I won't see the colors, or I won't see so vividly without my glasses. But when I put them on, I get 20/20. When I put them on, I can see from far away. And see, that's how God is. He's like our glasses. He's the 20/20 vision. He's the one that sees far away. See, when we can't see, he's the one that sees for us. He said, just hold on just a little while longer, because I got your back. He showed me that through my child. Even though she can't see all of what I'm trying to show her right now, she had to trust that what I told her was there. But soon, when she get tall enough, she's going to be able to look out the same window that I look out. And she's going to be able to see all the things that I was trying to show her. God said, look out the window. You can't see it right now. But he said, believe that it's already there. He said, speak those things as though that they were. He said, because there's already there. He said, whatever you want, it's already there. He said, you just got to get to it. He said, as a baby or as a toddler, he said, I can't give you an adult blessing as a baby. Because if I give you an adult blessing as a baby, then you won't be able to sustain it. You won't be able to maintain it. You won't be able to handle it. He said, you have to grow to be able to maintain and keep that blessing. It's like school. You can't start kindergarten and think you're finna graduate after 12th grade. You got to go through. But remember, just because you in kindergarten, don't mean you ain't gonna never graduate. My word for the day is, it ain't what it look like. Y'all keep on pressing on. Y'all keep on holding on. It's like a baby that you hold in the womb. Had to hold that baby for so long. And even though you can't see the baby, you know that the blessing is in there. And soon, when the designated time comes, when the expected due date comes, when that water breaks up, now you're going to see the thing that was growing on the inside of you. The very thing that was moving on the inside of you. The very thing that you were feeding. Feed your gifts. Feed your dreams. Feed them, y'all. Because if you feed them, they're going to be growing. And when the time comes, it will be birth. As it says in Habakkuk, at the appointed time, at the designated time, your blessing is going to come. It will not tarry, though it seems like it may tarry. It will not tarry, but it's going to come. All you got to do is realize that it ain't what it look like. I told you again, like the baby in the stomach. In the womb, you can't see the baby, but you know that it's there. But at the expected due date, your blessing is going to come. So just remember, let that be your decoration today. Let that be your encouragement today. When you see that, you're saying, what am I working for? I want a house. And you're trying to save money, just remember, just keep on saving. Because you may have only $50 now. But soon you're going to get enough to put enough down for your house. Because it ain't what it look like. That's my word for the day. Y'all have a happy Sunday. Y'all be encouraged. Good morning to you, Miss Ruby. Good morning to you, Miss Kimberly. Y'all have a blessed Sunday. Y'all have a happy Sunday. Y'all share this word. And just remember, no matter what you go through, just remember it ain't what it look like. Y'all, blessings of love. Sharmaine.